Okay, men, we're still looking at Adam and maybe some of the mistakes he made and what we might be able to learn from it. And here in Genesis chapter 3, if you've been around church, you know the story of Genesis 3. But just looking at some of the mistakes that were made and how we might learn what a weak man does. And if we can take a look at what a weak man does, because Adam was a weak man. He did not respond right. He did not do the right things. And so we can adjust and say, all right, if that's what a weak man does, this is what a strong man does. And it says, in Genesis 3, verse 11, and he said, this is God speaking, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree which I commanded you that you should not eat? Then the man said, or Adam, the woman who you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate. A weak man blames others. A weak man puts the responsibility on others when it was his fault. Once again, I told you yesterday, I wonder what would have happened if Adam would have ran to God rather than hiding from God. I just wonder what would happen here if Adam would have stood up and maybe this is, the New Testament talks about wives submitting to their husbands. And, that might just be, honey, step back. And he would have stood up and he said, I'm the one to blame. I'm the one that made the mistake. I'm the one that allowed this. I just wonder what would have happened, how that might have changed the narrative. But you see, a weak man blames others. A strong man takes responsibility. A strong man says, I did it. I'm responsible. Now, one of the things of manhood, and something that I learned from Ed Cole, he says, maturity is not based on age, but on the handling and the accepting of responsibility. You're a very immature man if it's always somebody else's fault. And it's always, well, I did this because they did this and that. Then really what happens is those other people control you. Men, if you want to grow up and be a man, stop blaming other people and start taking responsibility for yourself. You can't take responsibility for your successes till you take responsibility for your failures. You have no right to take responsibility for good things until you've taken responsibility for bad things. So men, if you're responsible, take the responsibility and quit blaming others. And before you go, I don't know if I like that. We've got Jesus' example to follow. He took the responsibility for our sin even when he had done nothing wrong. He took the responsibility and punishment for it. Maybe you need to take a look at Jesus. And even if you don't think or you might have an excuse, maybe it's just my fault, I'm to blame. Start taking responsibility and you'll start growing up.